Hello and welcome to Module 5 of Urban Planning and Management. In this module, we shall be looking at urban planning law and regulatory framework. That is the legal foundation for shaping sustainable cities. The module content here include 1. The overview of urban planning laws and policies. Number 2, urban planning laws in Nigeria. Number 3, content we should be looking at is urban planning laws in the United States and Canada. Number 4 content that we should be looking at is the urban planning law in the United Kingdom, Australia, and European Union. Then lastly, we'll look at comparative analysis of international planning system before we now draw our conclusion. Let us begin with the introduction. Why planning laws matters. Cities need rules to grow well. Without effective laws, cities face the following. 1. Uncoordinated sprawl and land use conflict. Environmental degradation, infrastructural deficit and housing shortage, social inclusion and inequality. Therefore, planning law provides the rule book to guide physical development and land use, to protect public health, safety and environmental and the environment, to translate policy vision into enforceable action, and to ensure sustainable and equitable urban growth. Having known that, let us look at the core component of urban planning law. That is what is inside the rule book. Urban planning law comprises the following. 1. Land use control, which involves zoning, density regulation, and permissible use of land. Number 2, development control, which involves building permit, construction standard, and enforcement. Number 3, environmental regulation, which involves the use of EAR mandate, that is environmental integrity regulation, conservation rules. Number 3, institutional framework, which involve designate planning authority at different levels. Number 5, spatial planning, which requires preparation of national, regional, and local plan. Number 6, the last, public participation, which involves legal provision for community engagement in the decision making. Together, these components create a system for orderly and accountable urban development. Having known that, let us look at case study 1, that is Nigerian planning framework. Nigerian planning framework is a strong law challenging implementation. So the key legislation in urban planning in Nigeria include Urban and Regional Planning Act of 1992, which is the primary law with a 3-tier system, that is the federal, state, and local government. We have another planning law in Nigeria, which is the Land Use Act of 1978, which vested land ownership in the hand of governor. That is governor's land ownership and acquisition. Then we have EIA Act of 1992, which requires environmental assessment for major projects. The major challenges of Nigeria urban planning framework is that there is weak enforcement and institutional capacity, political interference and corruption, rapid urbanization at spacing planning, then informal settlement and complex land tenure. Despite a solid legal base, effective implementation remain the critical hurdle. Now let us look at case study 2, the United States system, which is characterized by decentralization and zoning. So the key feature is that it centers on local control. Then the primary planning authority rests with municipalities, that is cities and counties. Then the zoning ordinance are the primary tool, which involve regulating use, height, and density. Then comprehensive plan guide long-term growth. Then it is also characterized by federal influence through environmental law, the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA. Then hallmark is a strong protection of private property rights, balanced with public interest via regulation and public hearing. The current debate is restrictive zoning contributing to housing affordability crisis in the United States. Now let us look at case study 3, the United Kingdom's system, which is characterized by plan-led and discretionary and statute. The key legislation in the United Kingdom include Town and County Planning Act of 1990. The core principle is plan-led development, which involves decision must be made in accordance with approved local development plan. It is also characterized by flexible discretion, which entails that planners have significant discretion to assess each application based on policy and material consideration. The key features is that it is hierarchical plan, that is from national policy to local plan, down to neighborhood plan. Section 106 agreement, that is legal deal to secure community benefit from developers. It is also characterized by strong public consultation. It is legally required. So these are the framework of the United Kingdom system. Now let us look at case study 4, the Canada and Australia, which is characterized by provincial and state-led model. The Canada is characterized by following: one, provincial responsibility, thereby each province has its own planning act. Number two, municipal implementation. Cities create official plan and zoning by law under provincial oversight. The emphasis of the Canadian legal framework is on sustainability, smart growth, and integrating indigenous rights. That of Australia is characterized by a state-based system. Thereby, each state or territory has its own planning legislation, like the NSW Environmental Planning and Assessment Act. Then the integrated approach is strong link between the land use and transport planning. It focuses on environmental protection and managing growth in metropolitan regions. Having known that, let us look at case study 5, that is the European Union approach, which is characterized by cohesion and sustainable urban development. No single European Union planning law exists. Planning remains a member state competency. Therefore, the European Union's role is a strategic facilitator. It has set of common goals, which include green transition, territorial cohesion. It also provides funding and framework, which involve cohesion policy, European urban initiative. It also promotes knowledge sharing and best practice, that is OBACT program. The guiding principle of the European Union is integrated sustainable urban development, which involves connecting physical, economic, social, and environmental policies. Now let us look at a comparative analysis. That's the key dimension of these aforementioned regions. In Nigeria, the legal basis is based on National Institute, that is Planning Act of 1992. In the US and Canada, the legal basis is state and local law. In the UK, the legal basis is National Act and local plan. Whereas in the European influence, it is based on directive and national laws. Then the Nigerian, the level of control is centralized. It is centralized. That is, the federal and state government controls both the control level. It is controlled by both state and federal government. Then in US and Canada, it is highly decentralized. That is, it is left to the local authorities and municipal to have control over it. In the UK, it is a centralized policy plus local implementation. So the central government make the policy while the local level implement the policy. Then in UK, in the European Union, the level of control is shared, which means European Union goal plus national execution. In Nigeria, the primary tool used include development controls and permits. In the US and Canada, it is based on the primary tool is zoning ordinance. In the UK, the primary tool is development plan and discretion, whereas in the European Union influence, the primary tool is strategic framework and funding. Then the public role. The Nigerian is often weak, so it is characterized by weak public role. That is, public enforcement is very weak. In the US and Canada, the enforcement is very strong. That is, hearing, advocacy. Then in UK, it is legally requires consultation. Then in that of European influence, the public role encourage participatory governance. Having known that, let us look at the global trend and best practices. That is, what can we learn? That is the margin priority. So what we can learn is one, climate resilience. That is integrating adaptation into the planning law. So climatic resilience involves integrating adaptation into planning law. Number two is social equity, which involves using laws to promote affordable housing and inclusive access. Number three is digital tool, which leveraging on geographic information system and data for smart regulation. Then the best practice, proven best practices include clear institutional role with adequate capacity, then meaningful public participation embedded in the process, integrating planning, linking land use, transport, and environment, flexible but enforceable regulation that can adapt over a time. Now let us look at the path to effective planning law. That is from paper to practice. Effective law requires more than good text. They need the following: one, political will and leadership for consistent enforcement. Number two, adequate resources for planning institution, that is funding and skilled staff. Number three, public awareness and buy-ins, so communities understand and support the rules. Number four requirement for effective planning law is transparency and anti-corruption measure to ensure fairness. Number five, which is the last, is continuous review and reform to keep law relevant to the new challenges. The goal here is that law that are not just on the book, but are on living tools that can shape better cities. In conclusion, the universal imperative is that orderly cities don't happen by accident. Urban planning law are the essential foundation for sustainable, equitable, and resilient cities. Systems varied widely, which include decentralized versus centralized, zoning versus plan-led. Reflecting different history and value is also relevant. No system is perfect. Each grapple with its own challenges, like enforcement in Nigeria, affordability in the US, and cohesion in UK. The key lesson learned here is that most effective systems combine robust legal framework, strong institution, genuine public participation, and adaptive governance. Thank you, and God bless you.